Anna Lilia, Anna Lilia. I'm just simple. I'm simple. I'm Miskina. Dun 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 dun. No, Miskina Zine. That's my bird. That's my magical Casbah and my magical Algeria.
Happiness, joy, passion, and longing. This is what Algeria represents to Kathleen Voss-Woolrich, an American writer so passionate about all things Algerian, from the history to the culture.
And like they say in Hasantero, my favorite thing they say, when they tell you you're going to be a big girl, Rak mustache, rak kabir, vaccinera. You're big, you have a mustache, you're vaccinated, you're vaccinated.
I see you know a lot about Algerian culture and entertainment, more than Algerians do themselves.
I love this place. This is my home.
Even the music.
To me, you know, I can hear Algerian music and I cry when I hear it. And people ask me, how could you cry? I said, because I understand what's behind it. When Kamel Massoudi...
What's the secret, Kathleen, behind your passion with Algerian music, Algerian history, Algerian culture? What's the secret?
I see history. And in every song I see hidden feelings, like Shema.
Shema, yes.
And I see love, like Alesh Bilgadar, Alesh, Vijmal Ankes, where he's talking about someone that betrayed him. There's love inside of all of it. Alesh, Alesh, Alesh Bilgadar. I see the love inside of everything.
And the local slang or dialect.
I see you use a lot of Algerian slang.
I understand. I taught myself Darija.
You taught yourself.
I understand. Fahemtek Kulashi. I understand it.
That's impressive.
I just taught myself because people didn't teach me. And French, I actually taught myself French to totally read and translate completely alone to be able to read about Algeria.
So for the sole purpose of reading about Algeria, you learned French.
That's it. I can read it.
But it's all bittersweet for Kathleen. Algeria brings all kinds of emotions out of her.
When I get sick, and when my heart hurts, and when I feel like I can't go on, I just think Algeria, Algeria, I can go back again. And when I feel like I get too sad, I just do movies, I do things. I can always find something that other people didn't find. And it's giving me purpose. This place is magic. Algeria is magic. And I'm so blessed and so lucky that I got to come here, you know, with my heart being so sick. I'm lucky I got to see all these things. This was my bucket list, my list of things to do.
Algeria captured Kathleen's attention when she was vacationing in Paris back in 2001. She met several Algerians there. She had never heard of Algeria nor met an Algerian before. An intricate story had begun right there and then. She says Algeria helped her overcome her hardships, making her submerge into the culture, the history, and the literature.
Well, I had a lot of pain. I went through a very, very horribly domestically violent marriage with an American that when I came out of it, I could barely even speak. I was so traumatized. And when I saw, you know, Algerians survive all these things that they've been through, and then all the things that happened during the Algerian Revolution, I threw myself into the movie. I watched Belle of Algiers, and I pretended I was a milk bar girl. I pretended I was Hasiba bin Bouali. I was Jamila Barrett. It's so big and so deep and such just a big mess of culture and beauty and love and music. It's just, you know, when Bushma Ankas died, I mourned him. You know, when Asha Jabbar died, I mourned her. When I went into the Theatre National and I saw a clipping of Khatib Yassin, I felt him. Like, I've read Nejma. I get it. I read Tahir Jout last summer of Reason. I've read the literature. I'm not here for anything other than I just want to be here. There's no end. Oh, I had this book from 1888 called, its last name is, Winters. The Winters in Algeria. He was a painter. It's a book from 1888. I would read it. I was like, oh, that's a Kurguli. Which people are like, what are the Kurguli? These are people that were Turkish. Like, oh, they're Kurgulis. Oh, there's Sidi Abdurrahman. Oh, there's that street. There's that street. Those people lived here. You know, this building was there. You know, Casbah was here. There were slaves over here. Pirates were here. You know, I saw that, and then I would look at it, and then I would hear legends about the Seven Sisters. That's like people that came up into the mountains. Then I would hear other legends about the Kabils. And you hear about people that were like pirates that ran up into the mountains. And people are like related to Irish people. And you got Turks and Syrians. And then I went to Tlemcen and I heard that they were Syrian people there. Because I wrote a book called The Slaves of Algiers. Because, you know, I'm Irish. And the section of Ireland I was from back in the early 1600s, a bunch of Irish people were taken by Murad Rice back to Algeria, and they lived in the Kasbah. And years later, the people came to get them back, and they didn't want to go home. I feel like I'm a slave of here. Like I belong here, and I kind of came here with one thought, and then loved it a different way. And now that it's years into this and past, you know, a lot of things have passed, and I'm older and very sick now. I wasn't sick when I started this journey. I had something, like I said, left diastolic congestive heart failure and a debilitating immune. I was in a wheelchair a couple years ago. This time last year, I was in the hospital for 6 days having seizures. I've had such poor health that for me, just being able to walk up the stairs in the Kasbah or walk down the stairs or be able to breathe out in open air is such a blessing that, you know, like they say in Arabic, alhamdulillah, I thank God every day, you know, that I've had the chance, you know, to listen to chickens at 3 o'clock in the morning and hear the adhan and be around people. And I don't feel separate. You know, there's a lot of people that have a lot of misconceptions about Americans, and they don't understand that we're so diverse, you know, and I feel like when I'm here, I feel like I'm with my brothers and sisters, which is, I don't know why. You don't know why you feel places.
Kathleen has a large collection on Algeria, from photos to postcards, which she stored in her digital book called The Book of Moulay, making up a big virtual museum.
Well, the story about the Book of Moulay is this. I've been writing books about Algeria since 2006, and they're on Amazon, and they're pretty much globally available.
But they're not printed here in Algeria.
They're not printed in Algeria, but I, last year, came to a point in February of this time that I was dying. Like, I had seizures, and they kept hospitalizing me, and I couldn't breathe no matter what they did. I wasn't getting better. And I made a decision while I was driving to New Orleans with my daughter that I would take all of my books and put them in electronic format, so if I passed away, that they would forever be there. So I set about taking a lot of my digital images, all my books, and having them converted into digital format. So my book is one of the first books about Algeria that's in EPUB, Google Play, iTunes, and on Kindle that has images of old Algeria. And I had it done all by myself. And it's been selling. It was #1 in the United States in July about Algeria. It was #1 about Algeria on Kindle, about Algeria specifically, and I think it's like #7 right now. I get like a little bit of money every month, but the real reason I did it, I called it the Book of Moulay, was basically I took all my books, Algerian Sons, Slaves of Algiers, I took and a lot of other books and photographic images and threw them in like it was a scrapbook. And at the back of the book, I talk about having congestive heart failure, and it was kind of my goodbye. And I found a way to get it all converted digitally, and it's available worldwide. It's a PDF, it's forever. My dream for Algeria, this is what I dreamed. I dreamed that everything I knew would be somehow in an MP3 somewhere. All the pictures stored, and then I would start doing digital archives for Algeria. During my free time, all I do is Algeria. I do Algerian music. I do stuff that you guys, Algerian radio and comedy from the 1930s. I look for things that show me who you were, and I just want to save it. What you do with what I saved is your thing. But I don't think it's fair for Algerians to lose all their images, because these can't be copyrighted. These are things from 1900. Every time I see an image, I copy save.
Kathleen says she did all of this to give back to Algerians for helping her find herself. Her collection is her gift to the country that she calls home. From the heart of the Kasbah in Algiers, she expressed her passion and appreciation.
I've been able to write books, I've been able to collect pictures, and my real reasoning behind collecting these pictures, and it sounds kind of silly, but have you ever loved somebody and you wanted to make them something? My collection of digital images and all the things I've done is just basically my way of telling Algerians, hey, I know you're busy doing your thing, but I'm going to save your history while you're too busy. And so I scum the world looking for auctions, uncopyrighted digital things, so I can give them back to Algeria.
So you have a collection
yes,
of
absolutely. All over my videos. They're everywhere. And thousands of images.
Who knows about that? From the Algerian officials, the Algerian government?
I got a letter about 6 years ago.
The Ministry of Culture?
Not really. But I haven't really tried. But it isn't about that. This is my home. This is where I just want to be.
Algerians do need to know their history, their heritage.
Yes.
And I think it's important for
the
that
one
to
thing,
be saved.
Yeah, I can teach them how because everywhere I've been, I have a postcard of it. Your history's there, and it's there to fall in love with. You just have to believe in how beautiful it is and go back and understand it. Understand that each sign had a person.
Yeah.
Each place you go, somebody died. Like we were just
Especially here in the Casbah, it's a historic
we were just
place.
in a place where people were guillotined.
Exactly. This was the cradle of the Algerian Revolution.
Yes, and it was. And it's really who the people are, regardless of whether you came here or not. It's still part of you. And I had, for me, it was the most important place to visit. And I've been around all over Algeria. I've been to Algiers, but the Casbah to me was the one place that I found a lot of answers.
She wants Algerians to be proud of their colossal history and let the world know that there is so much more to Algeria than what they see on the news.
I'm talking about opening your heart to seeing what's good about what you have and loving it. Because you can't love yourself if you can't love your house. And Algeria is your house, so love your house. Go to the museum, spend the 100 dinars, drag your kids to the Museum of Antiquities, go to the Douche Marad and go to the cultural things. Take your kids, make sure your kids know who Al-Hajj Mohammed Al-Hajj Anka is. Make sure your kids know the music of Algeria.
So you want Algerians to teach their kids more
about
Algeria
their
and the culture.
Know their songs. You should know every single singer. You should know every single writer. The religion's important too. Good, be a good Muslim. But I'm talking about know what's beautiful about what you have. Know the buildings, know the walls, know the history. Don't just try to think that being better is being away from who you are. This is who you are. That water is who you are. Every kid should know the Casbah. Every kid should know that street, that history, who got guillotined.
Kathleen insisted on paying her own tribute to the martyrs of the Algerian Revolution.
On our list memoir, there's 4 brothers of combat and their names, which I want to read because who knows if they've been read in a while. Said Touati, he was born in 1928. He was the father of 5 kids. Hamida Radi, he was born in 1935. He was the child of Ali Ben Ammar and Houaria Shalabi, that was his mom, and he was single. And Boualem Rahal, and he was born in 1937, and he was the child of Saad Ben Lakal and Fatima Berkani, he was also single. And Mohammed Ben Amin, and he was born in 1932. He was the son of Maloud and Fatma, and he was also single. And they were condemned à mort, à la guillotine. They were condemned to death by guillotine on the 20th of June. 1957, and they were in the prison called Barbarouse.
Saying their names out loud is for her a way of recognizing their sacrifice.
Maybe it's been a really long time since anybody said their names. And you know what? That's what Algeria is saying the names of the people that were here, understanding all the sacrifice that people went through, understanding that during colonization people were brutalized, people died.
Kathleen dug deep into the shared history between the United States of America and Algeria. Her research led her to so many forgotten names.
There's people that I know about, that I have made public, that no one in Algeria or America even knew about. And the way that I found them is I went in deep into the Smithsonian archives looking for anybody that had anything to do with Algeria. I found Alistair Pond. He went from Beloit College in 1916 to 1920 Algiers, and Beloit College, which no one knows about in America, it's full of Algerian artifacts. Newton Wells, who was a famous mural painter during the early 1920s, came over here and died here in 1923.
He died in Algeria.
He died in Algeria, and I made a video about him. I made a video about Aurélie Picard, who was one of the Tijanis, who went to Laguat. She was the princess of Laguat. You know, these weird little strange stories. Oh, and the best thing is the American agricultural exploration to Algiers in 1911 I found out about, where all of our alfalfa and all of our dates, our salt-resistant alfalfa, is from Algeria. But that fact has been lost because American exploration people came here and grabbed stuff and took it back home and planted it because it could survive in California weather. And all the dates in California are related to Algerian dates. There's just things that disappear. Nobody knew. And the other thing, the thing about Newton Wells, there's a whole collection of Algerian archives right now at Beloit College in America that everyone just forgot is even there. Everyone goes, well, there's a city in Iowa, El Khadr. You've got a whole bunch of Algeria in the United States that you don't know because of all the Americans that were coming in and out of here. The people that were painting Jardin d'Essai, the American painters in Busada. Some of them have, you know, Juanita Guccione, she's actually got exhibits at Sonatrach and stuff. There's a lot of Americans that have been here, poets, writers, thinkers. Albert Camus, I mean, hello. Think about all the people that have been here and created. There's a whole soul here. There's a whole life inside of Algiers, inside of Algeria, that everywhere you go, there's mysteries. You know, you walk in a garden in Sétif, and there's Roman things as the benches. So if you look, you'll never be bored. If you ignore and just look for things that are wrong, you'll find them all day. But if you look for all the mysteries and you try to unlock them, Algeria, I call my channel, which is the one thing I want to say, I never told anybody I was American. I called it the secret picture box of Algeria, because my dream was to have like a digital dream,
collection,
a box, and things flying out of it, of all the secret things. And so I called the secret picture box of Algeria Presents.
It's an artistic
visual
image.
And I never came out to anyone that I was American, and people would be like, "Hey, Hoya, what's wrong?"
So they would assume you were Algerian.
They assume Algerian. I'm like, I'm American. They're like, why are you doing this? And it kind of would make, they could rationalize it maybe after 2 years, 3 years, to be able to stand in the Casbah and hear the Adan and know that I was where all the Mujahideen were, and I'm standing in the middle of history. I feel lucky. And this is one of the things for me. When I come to Algeria, I know I'm a guest, and I don't want to change anything. I don't want to change the walls or the pictures, but I want to talk about who was here too. Newton Wells, who died. There's no record of him except on my channel. He painted and he died. He died here. You know, Juanita Guccione, she was here. These are Americans. You know, Alistair Pond, this guy was the explorer. He went all over Algiers trying to save the history. There were people that were here.
Walking around the Casbah, one cannot ignore the passage of the Black Panthers, the revolutionary U.S. black nationalist and socialist organization whose only international chapter operated in Algeria from 1969 until 1972.
We're here in the Casbah, and a lot of people, a lot of Algerians maybe don't know that, but the Black Panthers, which was a civil rights black movement in the U.S. Back in the 70s, were refugees here, and they were hosted by the people of the Casbah.
For a while in the late 60s, Eldridge Cleaver was here, and he used to actually take breakfast at the DZAIR Hotel. And if you look at video footage, you can see that they were walking, and I saw a video of them walking down this street. And you know what surprises a lot of people is that, you know, there were a lot of American poets, expats, people that didn't quite make the news that have lived here through the years. I mean, even Frantz Fanon wasn't a son of Algeria, but he fell in love with it. This country has a way of sucking you in and keeping you, you know. And I think for the Black Panthers, Algiers, the time in Algiers was a time that they never forgot, and it became part of the American Civil Rights Movement. Algiers has always been seen as a liberation, a place of liberation.
The lack of English-speaking documentaries about Algeria led Kathleen to make her own records in her YouTube channel.
I noticed that nobody was doing anything. Like, I went on YouTube, I'm like, where is all the history? What's going on here? Why can't I find any documentaries in English about anybody? So the only documentary in English on the web about Emir Abdel Khadr is me speaking.
Emir Abdel Khadr. Very little is known in the Western world about one of Algeria's greatest heroes, Emir Abdel Khadr. Emir Abdel Khadr al-Jazairi, born 6 September 1808, died 26 May 1883, was an Algerian Islamic scholar, a Sufi, a political and military leader who led a struggle against the French invasion in the mid-19th century. He is seen by Algerians as their national hero.
I talk about the Kabyles of New Caledonia, how they got, I mean, there's so many secrets. And I talk about the different personalities that lived here.
Cheb Hasni was born Hasni Chakroun February 1st in 1968 in Oran, Algeria, otherwise known as Waharan, and he died September 29th, 1994.
Houari Boumediene was born on August 23, 1932, into a poor peasant family in Clazel, near Guelma, in eastern Algeria. His real name was Mohammed Ben Brahim Bou Karouba, but in 1957 he adopted the name later used as a nom de guerre.
In June of 1631, pirates from Algiers and armed troops of the Turkish Ottoman Empire, led by the notorious captain Morag Reis, stormed ashore at the little harbor village of Baltimore in West Cork. They captured almost all the villagers and bore them away to a life of slavery in North Africa.
This newspaper was purchased from an online auction site and is dated October 30th, 1852. The very scary and sad significance of this artifact is that it was published by the London Times, and the name of this artifact is Algerian Artifacts in the Louvre.
Kathleen, what's next for you? What can Algerians expect from you? Are you going to write another book, especially that you've been here in Algeria for quite some time now? What's the next step for Kathleen?
Book of Moulay has been, a book that people have been buying it on iTunes and on Google Play. It's the first one I've had in all three mediums, but this one's called The Book of Fire and Whispers. And it's because it's about the place where Ali Lapointe and Hasiba Ben Bouali died. And I visualized it, and I wrote about it, and I saw them. I could see it, happening, and I never thought that I would actually, during this trip, get there. And I did. I figured out a way to get people to take me to this place where they died. And I saw it, and I stood there, and I touched it, and it was there.
The only thing Kathleen is wishing for is a chance for her to come back to Algeria and claim her Algerianness.
I just want to be a resident of Algeria. I want to be able to have a card that says, I can come back here anytime I want. Other people want all kinds of stuff. I just want to be Algerian. I know I'll never be a citizen, but I feel like I want to just be able to come here when I want, and this is my home too.
This is your chance. What is your message to the Algerian government, maybe?
My message is, please let me be here. I don't need anything. I don't need anything special. I just want to be able to come over here. If I feel like I want to come over for the summer, I want to come over here and work. I just want to be here. I just want to be able to bring my daughter and spend a couple months and go back to America. I'm not asking for anything special.
All she has is the power of her words, and she will continue to use them to try and explain her magical connection to a country called Algeria.
My dearest friends, I miss you so. I held you in my heart when I arrived and left you behind when I went home, and I touched your buildings. I saw the faces of your shaheeds in the Martyrs Museum, and I knew what I must do. I will be your dearest friend, and as you are living and working and busy, I will look for your memories and give them back to you one by one. I hold the pictures of your people in my hands when I open the mailbox. I unroll the newsprints from 100 years ago and read about the adventures of Abdelkader, and you don't know why I am doing this, because you don't know what you did for me. Algeria, I love you. You are the one place that I feel like an adventurer. I live the revolution when I read about Jamila or see Ali Lapointe's simple face. And I know no matter what you do, I will never give up on you. And I want nothing from you, only for you to know that I loved you. Everything I give back to you, everything I hold is yours. For you, Algeria gave me my life. Algerians gave me hope that I was still alive when my world fell apart. Algeria remained. So I do this for you, Algeria, and I promise you, as long as I live, I will look for you. I will look for your memories in your books. I will look out for your people when I meet them, offering them kindness, understanding, and compassion. I will defend your memory to anyone who speaks your name, because I love you and I have so little to give you. I want to give back to you everything you lost and fill your museums full of pictures and memories. I want to give you all the roses to fill your garden, so you will know that when you were sad, that someone loved you. And when I return to see your face, I want you simply to know that I loved you, dearest Algeria.